Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I'm here today with a what I've been knitting video. So if knitting is not your thing, this may not be the video for you, but before you go, I want to tell you about today's Love Notions Feature Friday, which means it's $5 today only on the 4th of March 2021. It's the Summer Basics Tank and Dress. Guys, this pattern, I keep the tank pattern just by my cutting table and went along with the Megan Nielsen Acacia underwear as well. A lot of times when I'm cutting out knits, I'll just go ahead and cut one of those out, a tank and or underwear, depending on how much I have left, because I can get one of those out of little pieces. So it's just really handy when I've got the knit already laid out. I just go ahead and cut it. But it is my favorite tank top, like a fitted layering tank top. I've actually never made the dress, but I am sure it's lovely. And the other wonderful thing about this is that it does have a built-in bra. So you can, if that is something that you like to go without, it has the shelf bra that is built in as well. So both for it's for any of the versions, but yes, sleeveless, perfect as we're going into warmer weather, great for layering. It is, I would grab it. It's got a whole bunch of different, sorry, my eyeballs got really dry. Whole bunch of different versions in that pattern, as with a lot of them. It comes in the full size range. It's got the full bust front. Yeah, it's a good one. So definitely go have a look at that one. Okay, let's talk knitting. So I know not all of you are into knitting. I just have 3 things to share with you. I've been very prolific in my knitting in 2022, and yeah, I didn't really put them in particular order. I have 2 things for my daughter and 1 thing for myself. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, this was actually the most recent thing I've knit. I just stuck this on Lena here first. This is the, can't remember the name of it, put it here, but Lily Kate makes, or Lily Kate, I think it's Lily Kate France on Ravelry, but Lily Kate Makes is her Instagram handle and everything else. This is one of her patterns. My daughter loves her patterns. I really like her patterns too. I always learn something when I'm knitting up her stuff. And this is also a worsted, this is used as worsted weight wool, and I was very keen on doing something with larger needles because these other 2 sweaters were done on smaller needles because it's a fingering weight mohair blend, these other 2 projects. So it felt really good. I knitted this up in like no time at all. I also got to do brioche stitching for the first time. I had never done brioche. I love it. It is addictive. And yeah, I mean, I feel like with a lot of times with brioche, you've got like 2 different colors. So like the inside rib is a different color. I'm not that advanced yet, but I did really enjoy the actual brioche stitch and doing that. And the decreases I think are beautiful, the way that they all kind of come in. She had you finish off the arm edge here with an I-cord bind off. This is the first time I did an I-cord bind off. And I finished off the edge of the whole neckline with a Italian, what is it, the Italian bind off or something. It's where you use a darning needle. It's basically, it's kind of like the Kitchener stitch, but you're using a darning needle with a long, tail to get it off. I love that. I've done that one before, and it's a beautiful finish on here too. But I just had so much fun with the brioche. And of course this was a vest and it knit up really quickly, especially being on 5mm. So what is that? A US size 8, I think, needle. And yeah, knit up really, really quick. I made the size 2 for, in her patterns, mostly because I did do a swatch. I did a swatch before I knit anything up, but I think Lily, the gal that makes the patterns, she was wearing one and she put her measurements on the pattern, which were very similar to my daughter's, and she had knit hers a size 2. And my daughter liked how fitted it was on her and loved the negative ease. And she plans, she'll have this on with one of her new tops that I've made her rather recently, but she's really excited for some really big sleeve tops to wear underneath it. I'm gonna make her that Thea blouse, the Liberty Thea blouse, I think, and that Corber corsage, which will be beautiful underneath this. And she's been wearing it over her white button down as well. So Loving this one. She loves it. It fits her really well, and I had a really fun time doing the brioche stitch. Now for yarn, I used, this is a worsted weight, and it is Nomad Yarn Company, I think. They are in Indiana, and they have like a little truck that they go around to different venues. They no longer have like a brick and mortar, but their little shop is all in their little like trailer that they pull around. It's adorable. And this was hand dyed by them. This is the pewter color, I believe. And it took less than 2 skeins to knit this whole thing up. I mean, this is how much I have left of the final skein, which is a fair amount. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Put it in the stash. Maybe do a scrap sweater at some point. But yes, in the pewter colorway, it went beautifully. Okay, I'll do the next one for my, oh, I also, elephant in the room, my daughter dyed her hair purple. She'd been wanting lavender hair for quite some time, and we had it professionally done, and she also got her a really cute little, I think it's a very cute little cut. We cut it up a little shorter in the back. I think the curly bob, it's a very cute on her. But anyway, yeah, she's got purple hair now. Again, something she's been wanting to do for a while. She paid to have it turn purple. So yes, it's something very, very fun, and it's one of her colors actually. It's on her color chart. Okay. I'm sure you were watching her spin. You were like, oh my gosh, her hair is purple. And it is. Okay, next sweater. Okay, the other sweater, this is the first thing that I finished knitting in 2022. I actually cast this sweater on. This is the Petite Knits No Frills sweater. This is the second time that I've knit this sweater. I have one myself. It's kind of cropped. It's got the raglan sleeves. It really is no frills, but it's very easy to sew up, and it feels so good. So this uses a strand of fingering weight yarn with a strand of silk mohair lace weight yarn to make the fabric. And so the silk mohair, it feels so good. Mine feels the same way, but it's a lovely little pattern. But I cast this on beginning to middle of December, and just had it with me when we were going back for Christmas and all that stuff. So I had a lot of car time and a lot of like, we didn't do anything at Christmas other than hang out at our family's houses. So I had like a lot of downtime. So this got knit up pretty quickly, mostly because of that, because I finished this, it took me about a month to knit this, which is pretty fast for me. But that is, let's see, I don't know, like January 10th or something like that is when I finished this one. Blocked it, and she's worn it a couple of times. She loves it. The colors are perfect on her. I made her the smallest size in this. I knit, for some reason, when I knit these petite knit patterns, I knit just a little bit looser with the mohair and fingering weight put together. So I made her, I think she technically fell into the second size, but I made her the first size. Fits perfectly. Kind of cropped, kind of boxy. Yeah, she likes it over her white button-up shirt. She thinks that's fun. She likes it just plain because of the silk mohair, and this is really nice. What is this? It's a superwash merino. It just makes it really soft, so she can wear it against her skin as well. So I made 0 modifications. I made the straight smallest size. The same with the sweater vest. I also just made no modifications, just made the size as is, didn't shorten anything. She's very long in the torso, I was a little bit worried about that. But that Lily also has a YouTube channel, and she's mentioned that she's also very long in the body. So I was just kind of basing it off her, and it worked out perfectly. Yes, and then my sweater I cast on next. I'll show you that in a second, but I knit it from the middle of January until the middle of February, another month. But I was also really sick in there and was quarantined in my room for 6 days. So I got a lot of knitting done. And then the sweater vest knit up way quicker just because it's just a sweater vest. I think I knit that up in like 2 weeks. But we were also on vacation in there to Florida. And so I had airplane rides, and in the mornings at the condo before we go outside, I would sit and knit for a little bit. So that's another reason that I've gotten so much done in a short amount of time. But yeah, not much to say about this one. It's a very simple pattern. Love it. The yarn I used, this colorway is no longer available, but I will leave it linked down below. I actually have a full skein of both the mohair lace and the fingering. So they've got some smaller projects like hats and stuff that are on their site, the Petite Knit site. So I may end up knitting her a hat that matches this at some point. We'll see. But this is, I mean, I'll do something with this, obviously. It was expensive. But this is the, their fingering weight yarn, and the color is called Dawn on the Pier, but they no longer have this color. So this was the color that was knit with the lavender silk mohair. This made that fabric. So yes, beautiful, 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 beautiful. So yeah, this was just gonna go into the stash for a little while until I figure out what I want to do with that. But I love the Ridiculous yarn. It is lovely to work with. And all of this yarn actually has been very lovely to work with. The Nomad yarns was lovely. It felt wonderful in my hands. I feel like it shows the stitches really, really well. This just feels like heaven. And this is the second time I've used the Ridiculous combination and just really love that. And third, I used Miss Babs yarn for my third one. So let me get that on the mannequin. Okay, so this is my third sweater. This is the sweater I knit mostly in quarantine. I love this. I love the way it turned out. I had to make some quick design choices, switch ups, but we'll talk about that in a second. But this is actually the Petite Knits Stockholm V-neck sweater. I think that they have a different Stockholm as well that's not the V-neck. And actually it is meant for you to use 2 strands of mohair instead of fingering in mohair, but I did a swatch with these 2 together and I got the same gauge, and so I just went with it. And in all honesty, if you look at the sweater that the gal is wearing in the picture, hers is a little bit more fitted. So I think that might be a couple of things. I think that this is made a heavier fabric, and so it's stretching a little bit more, making it look a little bit longer and bigger. Whereas if you were doing 2 of the lace weight mohair, obviously it would be a much lighter, fluffier sweater. So I think that that is probably what has changed and made it it's not horribly big, but when I blocked it, the sleeves got a little long, which is fine. I mean, I can roll them, and that's fine, but yes. Okay. So, let's talk about the pattern first, and I'll talk about the yarn. So I really wanted to I was gonna do the Petite Knits balloon sweater, and decided that I really wanted a V-neck sweater in my winter capsule. And I was doing it in this color, obviously. And so that's why I went and fudged this Stockholm to make it work. But I love the way that this V-neck is done. So the V-neck was done, and you picked up stitches around the neckline, and then you knit it up to a certain point, decreasing as you went here at the center front to make that miter. And then once you got to a certain point, you started increasing out. And so once you were finished, that folded in, and you did a line of purl stitches all the way around right there in the middle. So it helped you fold it. So when everything was said and done, you folded it in on itself, and then it got whip stitched to the inside. And it is such a clean finish. I love it, but it's really thick. It's like a really thick V-neck. It's different than my Friday V-neck slip over my vest. That's just, you know, one thickness of knitting, one layer of fabric, I guess. This is the fabric got turned over on itself, and it just gives it so beefy, and I'm a big fan of this neckline. I think it's just really beautiful. So I went to knit, and this is knit from the top down, and it's a drop shoulder, and started knitting, and I got to, oh, I don't know, like through the yoke. I think I had gotten the end. I got to a certain point, and I had gone through an entire skein of the fingering weight yarn. And the fingering weight yarn that I chose for this is this right here, and it's from Miss Babs, and she was discontinuing the base, the actual substrate of this fingering weight yarn, and so she was selling them all for really inexpensive. And there were only 3 skeins of this left, and which is usually all I use for these sweaters. And so I bought all 3, but as I was knitting, I was getting really nervous that I was gonna run out of yarn, because I was only like, you know, a little bit in on the front yoke and back yoke, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have sleeves. I still have the whole body. Like I knew that this was gonna be, you know, knitting all the way around twice because it got folded over on itself, and I started panicking. So I ordered, because obviously I couldn't get any more of this, so I ordered a complementary color to do a contrast band on the bottom and also on the sleeves, just so it would look intentional. So anyway, when I bought this, I had just bought this. I wasn't sure what I wanted to mix it with, and I went back and forth and decided to mix it with. This is also Miss Babs. This is the Sweet Pea, her Moon Glow lace, which is lovely. And she still has this color in this base. And I just loved the way that looked. So I knew, and I can't remember, this is also Miss Babs and it's fingering weight, and it is also Sweet Pea is the color. But I knew that the Sweet Pea color worked well with this, so I thought, well, you know, it doesn't have to match, because they aren't the same color. I mean, they're a little different, but I thought when they get mixed, this clearly has to at least coordinate with this one and look fine. So I ordered one skein of this, and I will leave this one linked down below because she does still have this base. I can't remember what it's called, but it worked really, really well. I would highly, this was lovely to work. They both were lovely to work with, but this was really lovely to work with. And this is the one she still has. This base has been discontinued. And then the Moon Glow lace she still has that too. That's her silk kid mohair. But yeah, I think it worked really, really well. And I think it blends nicely. I think it makes sense. And I was able to get the sweater I wanted. I was able to make it the length I wanted. It's a little bit boxier, but I didn't want it too long so that it wouldn't overwhelm me. Again, once I blocked the sleeves, and I did shorten the sleeves. I shortened the sleeves by 1 inch. But it's still, obviously, when I blocked them, they just came up a little bit longer. So, I mean, technically, they're that long. But I just roll my sleeves, and then it makes this little cuff look even more intentional. The solid color that's there at the cuff. Anyway, I am just over the moon with my new sweater. It feels lovely to wear. The again, the silk mohair that's in there just makes it so comfortable to wear against the skin. Yeah, I really like it. And I just really had a good experience with all the petite knit patterns and all the Lily Kate Makes patterns as well. Very well done, both of them. In fact, right now I have a sweater cast on, and it's a Lily Kate Makes. It's her circumference sweater. I'll pop a picture of the pattern up here. And I am knitting it during my son's robotics tournaments that are coming up, the competition. And I'm knitting them. I'm knitting a cream colored body. I don't have the yarn down here, or else I'd show you. Cream colored body, and then our school colors are blue and gold. And so I have blue and gold that I'm gonna do, and then a variegated one that I'm doing for the little circumference things that go around. So it's going to be a subtle spirit wear sweater. But I have that cast on, and it's also from the top down, and it's, you know, you knit the yoke and then it divides the arms for the body. But I love the way she's done the neckband as well. It is doubled over on itself, and then you knit it together. I've never done it before, and it was fun. And I just love that when patterns teach me something new, and it's something a little bit, you know, fun to try. So I'll definitely share that with you guys in the next one. I don't do these too often because I don't knit as prolifically as I sew. But yeah, these are my three 2022 knitting projects this year. Typically around May, I start to really slow down on my knitting just because it gets warm and we're outside and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll see how far this train goes, how long I keep knitting. Again, a lot of times about May it starts to peter off, and then, you know, about October I pick up the needles again and I'm ready to start knitting up again. So we'll see what happens this year. But yes, those are my 3 recent knitting projects. Okay, going forward, I am almost finished. In fact, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see my daughter's Jessica laying on my sewing table back there? I have the body all finished and the lining finished. So now I just need to put them together, sew them together, and then do all the finishing work. There's a little bit of hand stitching that gets done. The buttons need to go on, buttonholes, all that kind of stuff. There's actually just one buttonhole because the buttons on the sleeves aren't functioning. But it is turning out so good. So good. I got such a good do on the welt pockets. And if you're interested, my profile over on Minerva, I am kind of chronicling it over there, posting pictures every day that I'm getting a chance to work on it and sew on it, if you'd like to a little bit more going along on the journey of that. So my Minerva account is linked down below if you are interested in doing that. Anyway, so got that going. Okay, next week we've got a very exciting pattern release from Love Notions that I cannot wait to make up. I'm going to be making that up this weekend. I'm so excited about it. I'm also doing a pattern test for Itch to Stitch right now. and that will, I don't know when that's coming out, but that'll be a little bit. But also next week, I'm gonna be doing my spring plans because the Everyday Style Capsule Wardrobe Spring Wardrobe comes out on Wednesday, I think, next week. So I will get all of my plans finalized and figure out what I'm gonna be making for spring or pulling from my existing wardrobe. So I will have that plans video up for you next Friday. So yeah, we've got some fun and exciting things. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You don't want to miss any of the fun stuff we've got going forward. But I think that's all I've got for today. We've got another Ziggy, I think it's 4. Part 4 of the Ziggy Jacket Sew Along is on Sunday. Yeah, so a lot of fun things going forward. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.